Okay. So last time we learned the ways that Chasidus, we're on page Kuf Yud Gimel, the last paragraph, the ways that Chasidus could be damaged. I'm missing the word. The search for Chasidus, the acquisition of Chasidus, could be damaged, because we had learned 2 times ago that the way to get Chasidus means a certain sense of serving Hashem in a way of that I'm not doing it because this is what the halacha is. Of course, this is the halacha, but that I just am bursting with a ratzon to do things that make Hashem happy and not to do things that don't give Hashem nachas. And to be able to live life like that, you have to have a certain perspective on who we are, who Hashem is. There's a certain perspective, and when a person's not paying attention to that perspective, so it makes it harder to do that. And what we learned last time was that the main challenge that we have in pursuing Chasidus is worry. It could be worry, legitimate worry, which he calls tirdos, when we're busy with things and we're concerned and we're distracted. It's finals. I have to get engaged. I have to get married. I have to enroll my son in yeshiva. I have to make a living. These things take my time and my attention, and those are tirdos. And then there are daigos. There are worries, because I'm a worrier, and we worry about stuff, and we sit down, and instead of thinking about productive things, we let our minds just, that wheel? We let our minds just worry. So now the Ramchal kindly helps us with what midah we could look for to help us not worry so much, which would be nice, no? So he says as follows: Omnam, however, mashe yuchal lishmar es ha'adam, what can protect a person, ulahatziloi min hamafsidim ha'ela, and save him from these mafsidim, from these things that pull him away from Chasidus, hu habitachon, that is the sense of being taken care of by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The who, and what does it mean to have bitachon? Sheyashlich Yehavai al Hashem legamri, that he should throw his package. You know the package? The package is the stuff that weighs us down. Take off the knapsack and throw it to Hashem. Hashem, this is your business. I'm going to focus on right now doing what I think you want me to do. And my relationships and money and health and all of those things, Hashem, there's not that much I can do about that. You take care of that. I will serve you. You take care of me. It's not a deal. It's just a way of having a midah. Hashem, I'm throwing this on you. Lahashlich, to throw, an interesting lashon, comes from a pasuk. An interesting lashon, to throw his pekel, to throw his package on Hashem completely. Ba'asher yeda, because he knows, ki vadai, because it's certain, I efsher sheyechsar la'adam asher nekzav lo. It is impossible that a person should be missing what was set for him. It's not possible for you not to have what you were supposed to have. You will not lose it. Everything is safe. All of your assets are safe. Everything in life that's meant to come to you, nobody could touch, no matter what. No matter how vulnerable you think you are, nobody can touch it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects it. Like Chazal say in their saying in the Gemara, Kol mizoynoisav shel adam kitzuvim loy. All the sustenance of a person is set for him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu already decided how much money we're going to have this year. We're wasting our time worrying about it. It has already been decided, and it's enough, and we're for sure going to get it. So we can worry about something else, or we can pay attention to serving Hashem. Rosh Hashanah ad Yom HaKippurim, from Rosh Hashanah to Yom HaKippurim. V'chein amru, and so the Gemara says, Ein adam noigeya b'muchan lachaveiroi. A person cannot touch that which was meant to go to his friend, afilu kimaloi nima, even a hair's breadth. So that means, Eli, that you have a situation where you have a partner in business and you're afraid that he's taking advantage of you. And you have to go to a Rav and work it out, which you do. And work it out and make sure when you go into business with people and you do any kind of business that you write everything down. You know that, right? You write everything down. And the better friend the person is, the more you write down, not the less. Because you want to retain your friendship. And the way to stay friends is that you write everything down. And if it's a relative, then you write everything down twice. Because that's really important. Okay? But if you're worried that your partner is taking advantage of you and he's getting money that you should have gotten, so you do this, whatever hishtadlus you're supposed to do, but then you tell yourself it is impossible for him to take one penny that's not his. It's not meant for him to take. It's impossible. And what I'm left with, that's what I was meant to take. It's impossible any other way.
What do you need to write it down for?
What?
So what do you need to write it down?
That's our hishtadlus, that we're not mafkir ourselves. That's why we lock the door at night. For the same reason we lock the door at night, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the responsibility to be responsible shomrim, to be responsible watchmen of our things. If someone's stealing from you, you bring them to Beis Din. Because we have to be responsible shomrim. In fact, if we're not responsible, it's a little bit of a chutzpah to Hashem. That Hashem is like, I'm giving this to you, respect it enough to protect it. I gave you a home, lock the door. I gave you a business, make sure it's protected. So that's why we do it, but we don't worry about it. The worry, thank you. Sorry, I'm getting excited. The worry, that's not helpful. It's hard. It's a hard avodah. It's easy to say it here. It's a hard avodah to feel like someone took money from you, and you're like, no, he can't take anything Hashem doesn't want him to take. It's going to be fine. Ukvar. Oh, Eli, Ramchal deals with your question now. I knew it was coming. I didn't realize how fast. He says, Ukvar ha'adam yachal liyos yoshev u'batel. In theory, a person could have sat down and done nothing. What are you getting? You're in school, Eli?
Yeah.
Why? You want to have a parnasa one day? Why? Hashem's going to give you whatever you're supposed to get anyway. He says a person really could sit and do nothing. The hagzeira haisam iskayemes, and whatever the gzeira from Hashem was would be fulfilled. You get whatever money you need. Imloi, however, shekodam haknas l'chol b'nei adam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave a knas. There was a curse that was given to people when Adam Arishan did his chait. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, B'zeyas apecha toicha lechem, that you will sweat for your food. We have to work to sustain ourselves. It's a gzeira from Hashem. So we got to do that. We got to work to sustain ourselves. Asher al kain, and because of that gzeira, chayav adam lehishtadel eze hishtadel. A person has to do a reasonable effort l'tzayrich parnasase, for the purpose of his parnasa. Eze hishtadlus, some type of hishtadlus. How much hishtadlus, Eli? Maybe my hishtadlus is that I buy a lottery ticket. Imagine how much money you would have saved on school. My hishtadlus is I'll buy a lottery ticket. If Hashem wants me to get the money, I will. What do you think of that? You think that's enough hishtadlus? What if my hishtadlus is that I go for 4 degrees and I make myself crazy and I sleep an hour and a half at night and I push up getting married till I'm 30? Is that good hishtadlus? How do you know? How do you know which is the right hishtadlus?
Whenever you're leaving enough room for God.
Okay, so that is something that really depends on a person, on the person.
Well, you'll know.
And for different people, right, for different people, depending on where they're up to, there's different levels of hishtadlus. Like, for example, that's part of the journey of life, is trying to figure that out. We know what the norm is in life, right? We know what's considered a regular normal hishtadlus. So our starting assumption is that we're normal. That's the starting assumption. So we do the norm. Okay? We'll give a shit.
How are we doing?
Yeah. Okay? That's yesterday, right? Yeah. Okay? So like, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to learn a profession. Some people go to school, some people don't go to school, but everyone wants to like position themselves that they can they can embrace a profession. But we know there are people out there that just decide to devote themselves to Talmud Torah, and they just are relying on Hashem. There are people out there like that. Some of them are being irresponsible because maybe they're not on the level, and they shouldn't just do it because they feel like it makes them, it's what society expects of them or whatever it is. But some of them are on a higher level. Some people are on a higher level, and they're really prepared. They're really prepared to embrace what Hashem provides for them and to trust that was what they were supposed to get. It's amazing, but true. There was a tzaddik in Yerushalayim many years ago. There was a tzaddik in Yerushalayim that his ishtadlus was that he would walk around the city of Yerushalayim every day until he found some coins on the floor. And then he would take those coins and buy food for his family. That was his ishtadlus. He walked around and looked for money. You like that? Okay, he was such a big tzaddik that he would leave saying, okay, I need to support my family, I need this amount of money, and he would go and find it. Okay? I don't think we're up to that. I don't think we have that confidence. So, Eza Hishtadlus, some Hishtadlus, is for us is to do the norm, not to overdo it, to do the norm. When you start working in Mitzvah Hashem, what are you going for? Computers and you? Finance. Okay, you're in more sakana of it than he is. But when you start, you could end up working 23 hours a day. There are finance guys that are doing that. That might be too much ishtadlus. That's too much ishtadlus. That's not it's not appropriate ishtadlus. It's not eze ishtadlus. That's not some ishtadlus. That's as if telling Hashem, I don't really trust you to take care of me, so I'm going to take care of myself. And that's not what we're talking about. There's a knas, we have to do work, and we're yaitse. We work to be yaitse our chiyuv. Our money doesn't come from our jobs necessarily. In my life, it's happened many times that I would do effort A for Parnasa, and the money would come from B. It happens all the time. People in business will tell you that it's a common occurrence. You're working on A, and B happens. So, so that's the hashkafa. Shekain gozar hamelach ha'elyon. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has decreed. The hareza kimas shepayrei kol mino enoshi. It's like a tax that humanity pays. Asher ein li imaleit mimenu. You can't get away from it. We're talking about working. Al kain amru. That's why Chazal say, the Sifri says, Yachayel afilu yeshiv ubatil. You might think that you'll have parnasa even if you do nothing. Talmud Leimer b'chol mishlach yodcha asher ta'aseh. You have to do something. Ezeh hishtadlos. Do something. Put yourself out there to make a parnasa. And then it's in Hashem's hands. Ach lo hishtadlos hu amoyel. It's not the hishtadlos that works. Elo hishtadlos muchach. But you got to do the hishtadlos. You have a chiyuv to do the hishtadlos. V'kivan shehishtadel. Once you do that ishtadlas, you were yaitse. Mazel tov, you were yaitse your chayv. Now you can go and learn Torah and raise your family and do the other parts of serving Hashem. Be a chassid. Don't worry so much and be a chassid. And that's it. You did enough. Now the Kadosh Baruch Hu's bracha could be shayra on it. Listen to me, finance man. You don't have to waste away your days. The charitzos, the ishtadlos, with effort and trying. Do the right amount. What's reasonable. And then say, okay, now it's time for my daf yomi share. Or knowing you, my 2 daf day share. Okay? This is what David HaMelech said. It doesn't come from the directions, it doesn't come out from the west or from the mountains, or from the desert or from the mountains. Ki Elokim shayfei. Only Hashem is the judge. Zeh yashbil. This one he puts down. V'zeh yorim. And this one he lifts up. U'shleim ha'melech olav ha'shalom Omar. Al tiga lahashir. Don't toil to become wealthy. I think we all know people that became wealthy without toiling. And we know people that have toiled and not become wealthy because it's not up to us. Right? You know that guy does a startup when he's 28 and by the time he's 35 he has, $50 million in the bank. People like that? And then there are people that are working 20 hours a day for 20 years and they're barely making ends meet. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what each one of us needs. Don't do the 20 hours a day. It's too much ishtadlus. Oh yeah, we just did that. The true derech is the way of the early Hasidim. Oisin Tairasan Iker. Their main focus was their Torah. Umalachtan Tfela, and their work was on the side. And it doesn't mean that nowadays you can't do that. You can't go to your work and he's like, okay, so your hours are 9 to 5. You'd be like, I'm going to do 9 to 11. I'm going to learn the rest of the day. I don't know if you'll be hired. In today's world, you have to do a job. It's usually a full day. But still, there's a difference in my attitude towards it. What am I here for? Am I here to serve Hashem, or am I here to serve my boss? And if I'm here to serve Hashem, then even if I spend many hours serving my boss, but my focus is my 2 daf a day. That's my focus. That's what my nachas is. When you get a raise, it's like, okay, Hashem decided I should have more money. When you finish a mesechta, then you throw a party, invite all your friends. Maskim? V'zeh niskayim biyadim, and both will happen. If you do your malacha as a side thing, and your Torah as the main thing, you'll have both. You'll have parnasa and you'll have Torah. Ki kivan she'asa adam k'tzas malacha. Once a person does a little bit of work, misham v'hala, from then and on, ein lo yalo liftayach b'koina. You should trust Hashem. V'loy lehitzta'er, and you shouldn't be concerned al shum davar oilami, on any worldly thing. V'az, and all of this was so that you should have yishuv adas, right? All of this, that we should have the menucha to focus on our avodas Hashem. Imagine if we lived this way, that we never worried about money. Can you imagine being able to just be like, whatever, Shabbos comes, and we're like, I have everything Hashem wants me to have. She'asa li kol tzarki, like we said this morning. Hashem does everything that I have everything I need. What am I supposed to think about now? Oh, Hashem must have brought me into this world for a reason. What does He want from me? Oh, that's my focus. I have a job to do. Imagine a soldier in the army. You say, what do you do? He says, I eat. He's like, you eat? Yeah, if I don't eat, I'm going to die. I have to eat. He's like, you're a soldier. You're on the deck of an aircraft carrier, and you tell me your job is to eat? Your job is not to eat. Your job is to fight. In order to fight, you have to eat. We're like that also. Our job is to serve. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve. Okay, we got to make parnasa. Let's not make our job our parnasa. Like they say, you never wanted to say on your matzeva what you did for a living. That's not who you are. Right? So let's not do that. What do you do for a living? How do you stay alive? I eat. I sleep. That's what you do? You eat and sleep? Yeah, if I wouldn't do that, what would happen? But that's not what you do. That's not who you are. A baby eats and sleeps. A baby could say, I eat and sleep. Mature adults have a life. Finance is not the life. Finance is the patur. Finance is, okay, let me get that out of the way so I can focus on raising my family and creating Ovdei Hashem and getting close to Hashem and reaching out to people and doing chesed for people and even using my parnasa to help other people. That's the plan, right? Then your das will be open, and your heart will be prepared for true chasidus, and to complete avodah. And with that we finished Perek Chaf Aleph, and we finished the midah of chasidus. The next midah is the midah of anava, the midah of humility. Let's see if we'll be able to get a taste of humility. Not easy. Okay, here's